Hi, good evening, friends. I'm Gaurav Gupta, and I welcome all of you to the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. Now, before I start this session, I'll quickly go for a tech check. So, can you please respond, those who are there in this session, if I'm audible and visible to all of you or not? So, it will take a few seconds. Can you please confirm if I'm audible and visible? All right. So, yes, I am live in front of you now. Okay, great. So let's begin this session. So, friends, welcome once again. I'm Gaurav Gupta, and I welcome all of you on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. After a very long time, I have made a session on CAT 2022. So this session is for all the students who are the aspirants for CAT 2022, and like not only CAT but what I say is all other MBA entrance examinations like ZAT, SNAP, IFT, Narsi Munji, and so on and so forth. So this session is dedicated especially to the people who are MBA aspirants and will be taking all these examinations in the months ahead. Okay, and just to tell you that I have made this session specially for engineers. So the title of this session is An Engineer's Way to Crack CAT. So friends, basically what happened is, so I myself is from an engineering background. So what I have seen is basically like engineers, they think that CAT examination is not made for them, MBA is not made for them. Even if an engineer is inclined towards doing an MBA, so there are a lot of non-engineering people who basically demotivates an engineer for taking CAT or for doing an MBA entrance for doing an MBA. Okay, so in this session, I basically clear all these myths. If you have in your mind that MBA is not made for engineers or CAT is not inclined towards engineer, it is a very difficult task for an engineer or a student who is pursuing education in engineering. So it is difficult for such people to crack CAT. So in today's session, I'll be telling you, I'll be discussing about all these myths. And in case if you are a little underconfident as an engineer, if you are a little underconfident that it will be a difficult task for you to clear CAT, then I'll also guide the path for you so that you can easily cover up this journey towards CAT. All right. Now, before we'll enter into this session, first of all, let's have a brief look at what all things will be tested in CAT. All right. So, all the students who are already there in this session, can you please raise your hand and tell me if you are an engineer or a non-engineer? Come on. So, meanwhile, we'll discuss other things. I'll quickly throw some light for all of you as to what will be there in CAT in front of us. Okay, so let's briefly look at all the three sections which will be tested in CAT briefly. Okay, now section number one, it is verbal ability, and generally the type of questions that are asked in verbal ability are from reading comprehension. So reading comprehension is basically like a paragraph is given to us. The length of the paragraph is somewhere around 500 to 700 words, and based on this paragraph, based on this passage, there will be around 4 to 5 questions that will be asked. Okay, now these questions which are asked in reading comprehensions, they can be inference based. They can also ask you to give a suitable title to the passage. They can also ask you about the tone of the author. There can be some direct or indirect question. Okay, so Ganesh has responded that Ganesh, you are an engineer. All right, wonderful. So Ganesh, I would say that you will benefit from this session. I'm not saying that non-engineers will not be benefited from this session. Definitely, this session will benefit every kind of student if you follow the strategy, if you'll follow the steps that I'm going to tell you for the preparation of your CAT 2022 examination, then definitely you will gain something out of this session. So continuing to this, so I was talking about the verbal ability section. So reading comprehension is, I can say, the backbone of this section, or I'll say the backbone of CAT examination. All right. So you can say that there are different types of comprehension that can be asked, and as I've already told you, the type of questions that are asked in reading comprehension. All right. Now the next thing that is asked in verbal ability of CAT is parajumbles. Yes. So parajumbles is basically, you'll be given different sentences, 5 or 6 sentences, and you will have to rearrange these sentences to form a coherent paragraph. All right. So these questions, since last 5 6 years, they are in the Theta format. So the Theta format questions are basically the type of questions in which options are not given to us. Okay, so in absence of options, let's say if there are 4 sentences numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4, so you will have to rearrange them. And let's say the correct order is 3, 1, 4, 2. So you will have to type these numbers 3, 1, 4, 2 in the box that will be given to you. Okay, so now Bilakanti Mamta says, like, I'm a postgraduate. Never mind, you are a postgraduate, but you would have done your post graduation in some discipline. So you are from engineering background or you are from non-engineering background. So this session will definitely benefit you. All right. Now the next type of question that are asked in verbal ability are para summary. Now, in this case, you will be given a paragraph of somewhere around 100 to 150 words. Okay, you'll have to read that paragraph, and which will be followed by different options, which will give you the summary. So, out of the 4 or 5 options that will be given to you, you will have to select the best possible option that summarizes the passage which is given above. All right, so these are the 3 different type of questions which are generally asked in verbal ability, that is section 1 of CAT. All right, now moving ahead, looking at the second section, which is logical reasoning and data interpretation. So definitely the questions are asked from logical reasoning as well as data interpretation. These are 2 different things. So in logical reasoning, basically your IQ, your out of the box thinking, your reasoning skills are tested by giving you different questions which are based on arrangements and groupings, games and tournaments, Venn diagrams, routes, and networks. So these are generally 4 topics. I'm not saying that you will not get anything like beyond these topics, but these are 4 general topics from where the questions are asked in logical reasoning. All right. Now, data interpretation is basically a calculative thing. So the questions can be asked in the form of tables, caselets, bar graphs, line charts, pie graphs, and so on and so forth. So in such questions, first of all, some data will be given to us in the form of any of these graphs. All right. And this data is followed by 4 or 6 questions. Now, generally, these questions are based on calculations. So basically, before the examinations, you will have to improve your calculations. Definitely, calculators are given in CAT. Calculators are there in CAT. You will find an on-screen calculator. But it is always better to practice some calculations, because there is some set of calculations in which you can save time like against using a calculator. Okay, so if you are good in calculations, if you are good in understanding the data that is given to you, then you can also do good in CAT in this particular section. All right. Now, let's move on to the third section, which is, I believe, the favorite area, the favorite section for most of the engineers, and a non-favorite topic for most of the non-engineers. This is quantitative aptitude. In this section, whatever we have studied in mathematics up till 10 standard, everything will be asked in this section. Okay, so starting from arithmetic, which composed of which includes the questions from percentages, profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, then the topics from ratios and the application of ratios in mixtures, allegations, time, speed, distance, time and work. So all these topics are in the area of arithmetic. All right. Now, next is algebra. This particular area is most hated by non-engineers. Okay. So in algebra, you will find questions ranging from simple equations, quadratic equations, functions, graphs, modulus, inequalities. So these are different topics which you will find in algebra. Now next comes geometry. So geometry, I would say that there is not a very huge weightage of geometry in CAT, but definitely you'll find 3 to 4 questions from geometry every year in CAT. Now geometry, you'll be tested on triangles, properties of triangles, quadrilaterals, circles, mensuration, and a little bit of trigonometry. All right. Now, modern maths composed of permutation, combination, and probability, one of the most interesting topics in CAT. And finally, the number system, which is the property of numbers and the application of LCM, HCF, divisibility rules, so on and so forth. Okay, so these are different areas from where you will find questions in the third section, that is quantitative aptitude of CAT. All right, so this is a little bit about what all things you will find in CAT. All right, now let's move into this session by answering some of the questions that most of you will have in your mind. Okay, so let's come back to the main agenda of this question. So most of you or like probably this question you would ask from yourself, or some other person who is a non-engineer will come in front of you and will ask that should an engineer pursue MBA? MBA is made for engineer or not? Yes, definitely it is. So a big yes as an answer to this question. Uh, I believe most of the students who are watching this session right now would agree with me. Okay, so why I'm saying that an engineer may pursue an MBA, because there are lots of specializations in which an engineer can do better than a non-engineer student. I'm not saying that in every specialization this happens, or I'm not generalizing this particular thing. Okay, there are specializations in which a non-engineer will do better than an engineer, but definitely there are some specializations and there are some job profiles in which which are best suited for an engineer. Now, naming these specializations, so like operational management, supply chain management, marketing management, okay, material management. So these are some areas in which an engineer having a background of engineer will help you in understanding most of the concepts at the time you will be studying, at the time you'll be doing MBA, also after you get placed and you are pursuing a job after doing an MBA. All right. Now, some of the different profiles that are being offered for an engineer, after doing an MBA, can be a production manager. It can be in the area of risk management, strategic management, and after you pursue your MBA and you are also an engineer, so it will be a good opportunity for you to get into some senior management and executive roles. All right. So yes, I would say that an engineer should pursue an MBA. All right. So an MBA, you can say that is or can be one of the good options for an engineer as well. All right. Okay. Now, the next question that pops up in your mind is, do CAT favors engineers? For this question, I'll say yes again. In CAT, if you'll see, if you have seen all the 3 sections that I've just discussed, I would say that 2 of these sections are made for engineers. Definitely the third section, in which most of the engineers are expected to do better than other people. So what are the bases on which basically we decided to become an engineer? Okay, now if you'll go a few years ago, if you will go back 5 to 6 years back, so when you were deciding about your future career, your subjects after doing 10th or after 12th examinations, then in many cases what we do is we decide the subjects, we decide our specializations, we decide our career based on our interest. Okay, so if a person is good at maths, if a person is good at maths, so he or she will drift towards the subjects which are more practical rather than selecting theoretical subjects. Okay, so जब मैंने भी 10th finish किया था, then at that time I was good in mathematics, and that is why I selected non-medical. All right, rather than going into commerce or humanities, I decided to go into engineering. Okay, and this is why I selected non-medical subjects in my 11th standard, and then I ended up pursuing software engineering. All right, so this is how basically we select our future course of action, or the specialization or our career path. Okay, so what I'll say is, if I talk about an engineer, so most of the engineers are expected to be good in mathematics. All right. So I'll say that they have mathematical background. They have studied mathematics in 11th and 12th, because maths is compulsory if you are an engineer. Okay. So in 11th and 12th standard, you have studied mathematics. Also, at the time you are doing engineering, you have studied most of the subjects that required some logical backgrounds, that require some logical application. So it is expected from an engineer to be average or above average, or maybe good in mathematics. And if I talk about the logical skills of engineer, they are also a little polished as compared to non-engineer people. Okay, again, friends, anybody who is a non-engineer here, please don't take it as an offense. I'm not talking in general. I'm talking about the majority of the people. All right, so please don't take it as an offense if I'm saying that engineers are more inclined towards mathematics, their logical skills are more polished as compared to non-engineers. So yes, non-engineers may also have wonderful logical reasoning skills, but I'm talking about engineers only. And this is a bare expectation from an engineer to be good in mathematics and to have a polished in logical skills. All right. Okay, so now why I was saying that CAT favors engineers, because section number 2 and section number 3, logical reasoning, data interpretation, and quantitative aptitude, these are the areas which favors engineers. All right. Now, engineers lacks in the first section, which is verbal ability. Again, I'm not generalizing this statement, but generally most of the engineers, they don't have wonderful verbal skills. Okay, so I can say that barring section number 1, the other two sections are in the favor of engineers. So yes, we have seen in the past as well that most of the engineers do score good in CAT examination. So if I talk about only the percentile score, I'm not talking about the final convert in the colleges, but if I talk about the percentile score, I have seen, since I've been teaching since last 14-15 years, so I have seen most of the engineers doing good in CAT examination. Okay, now they score average in the first section, they score above average, let's say 90-95 percentile in the second section, and they can do good in the third section, because of which their overall percentile or the overall score is much better than their competitors. All right. Okay. Now, this is one thing that favors engineers, but all the engineers are in the misconception that cat is cat favors them. Now cat definitely favors engineers, but not the second stage of selection procedure. Now this is one of the biggest challenges for engineers to crack. Now, this is the second round of selection procedure, where they are tested on their communication skills, where they are tested on their journal awareness, where they are tested on their presentations and all. And this is the most gray area for engineers, the biggest area in which the engineers lacks. Because they don't have communication skills, they don't have reading habits, they haven't developed all these skills in the last 4 years of their engineering. And this is the area where they suffer. Okay, so basically the main agenda of this session is just to make you aware about what all things will be there in front of you in the next 1 year, so that you can start polishing all these skills, from day one itself. All right. So it is important for us to understand, to know what all areas are our strong points and what are the areas in which we are weak at. Okay, so that we can understand these weak areas and start working on these weak areas so that they are no longer our weak areas when we'll have to basically like when we are tested on these areas. Okay, so let's move ahead and look at what should be the prep strategy if you are an engineer. Okay, now in order to understand the strategy, the preparation strategy, if you are an engineer, you must first of all understand, like I mentioned earlier, your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay, so in general, like these are the most expected strengths for an engineer. Okay, I'm saying expected. Not every engineer might be strong in mathematics, but these are some bare minimum things for a person who is writing cat, who is expecting a good result from cat. So these are some expected things from that person. If you come to me and tell me that, sir, I'm not I'm weak in verbal, definitely, and I'm also not strong in logical reasoning, data interpretation, and I lack quantitative aptitude skills. If you are poor in all the three sections, then definitely I cannot help you. You will have to first of all help yourself. You'll have to start working on all these skills. Okay, I'm talking about most of the engineers who are expected to be strong or at least above average in quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, which is the calculation part, and up to a certain extent, I believe that an engineer might have good logical reasoning skills. All right. So these are three strengths I can count for an engineer. Okay. Now, if you are sitting at these three strengths, you can say that you will have to make sure that these strengths remains your strengths. Okay, don't make these strengths convert and become your weaknesses. Okay, so this is one thing that we'll have to make sure, and also throwing some light on the weaknesses of the majority of the engineers. So number one, we don't have good reading habits, we have poor grammar, we have some limited vocabulary, and we lack big time in communication skills, both verbal and non-verbal. Okay, so these are some strengths that we possess, these are some weaknesses that we possess, and now the strategy should be taking care of all these things together. All right, so let's work on a prep plan that we should follow starting from day one. All right, and like using which we can definitely improve our scores in the areas in which we are weak at, and definitely we can do wonders, we can do at least above average in the second round of selection procedure. All right, so let's talk about the prep strategy starting from today onwards. Okay, now first of all, I'll focus on the weak areas of the majority of the engineers. So let's basically talk around the four weak areas that you can see on your screen. Okay, now first of all, we don't have reading habits, so we haven't read any novels, uh, we are not into reading newspapers, we don't read any business magazines. Okay, we just read our textbooks. Okay, so definitely you must read your textbooks, but you should also have some of the habits of reading, basically which will tell you what is happening around you in your country or around the globe. Okay, so first of all, to start with, start following a good newspaper, a good English newspaper. Okay, now if you don't have any background of reading newspaper, if you are not habitual of reading newspaper, if you are new into this particular area, so you can start with some basic newspapers like Hindustan Times and Times of India. Okay, so pick up any of these newspapers. ये वाले newspapers थोड़े से interesting होते हैं, इनमें pictures ज़्यादा होती हैं, black and white pictures के अलावा colored pictures भी होती हैं. Okay, and what I'll say is the language is pretty easy. They don't use very heavy vocabulary. All right. So the first step towards your success for to be an MBA, to get an admission in one of the good colleges for MBA. So this is the first step that you should take. Okay, now today probably some of you might not understand whatever I'm saying, but definitely you will get to understand this particular thing 1 year down the line. Okay, so why waste 1 year in that? I have always told my students about this thing. I myself is a quant faculty, but I preach most of my students about studying verbal ability. Okay, because most of the people can take care of quantitative aptitude, that is easy, but the most challenging part for each and every student is the verbal section, also building up the com skills. Okay, so the first thing is start reading newspapers. So you can start with Hindustan Times or Times of India. Get comfortable with any one of these two newspapers, and after 2 or 3 months, try to add Economic Times, The Hindu, these two newspapers. All right. Okay, so we can start with Hindustan Times or Times of India, and eventually we'll have to switch on to Economic Times and The Hindu. Now, if I talk about the newspaper, now most of us are also very confused as to which areas, which pages should we target in a newspaper. Okay, now I'll mention a few pages, okay, that you can read on daily basis. So you can start with front page. Now on the front page you will never see complete news. Okay, so on the front page you will see the main or the important highlights of whatever has happened in the last 24 hours, and you will also find that the news is incomplete and there is a follow-up news on the subsequent pages. So what you can do is you can just read some of the news on the front page, so that you get to know about what has happened in the last 24 hours. All right. Then after that, you can switch to the next page, which is on nation. So you can skip page number 2, page 3, page 4. You can skip all these pages. So directly jump to nation, international. Then you can go to business page. Now you will find 3 or 4 pages of nation. Just read the first page from that. International, you will find generally you'll find 2 pages. So just read one of the pages. Business, again, just one page. This is for a person who is a beginner. All right. So front page, nation, international, business, and finally the most important is editorial page. Now, editorial page is the most important page that you can use in order to basically improve all these 4 skills. All right. Now, editorial page will help you in developing your reading habits, definitely will improve you on your grammar, will increase your vocabulary. You will gain something when it comes to the front of current affairs that will help you in preparation for the second stage of selection procedure. So editorial page is one page that can improve all these skills. All right. So definitely don't miss this editorial page. All right. So these are certain elements that you can target in a newspaper. So this is the first thing that you must start doing, and you must read newspaper on daily basis. Yes, definitely on daily basis. And this should be the start of your day. So what you can do is as soon as you wake up, just spend 45 minutes to 1 hour on daily basis reading a newspaper. Okay. Now, if you're not doing that and if you're blaming on some other scenarios, some other factors, because of which you are unable to crack CAT, then it will be your mistake. Okay, I'm telling you right now, we are sitting in the month of March. You have good 8 months, minimum 8 months before this examination, and yes, definitely a lot of things can be done in these 8 months. Okay, so again, I have seen a lot of students, they blame their engineering background, they blame their, like, they blame different factors. I cannot put forward all these factors in front of you, but they blame different things for the failure of their CAT result. All right, so you should not be the one who will be blaming circumstances or your background. Okay, so start working on these skills from day one. Okay, so you are reading newspaper, you have started reading newspaper. Okay, now the next step is number 2 and number 3. You want to improve your grammar and you want to increase your vocabulary. Okay, now the key for these two things is again newspaper. Okay, now if you want to make most out of reading a newspaper, so what you can do is when you are reading the editorial page, so on editorial page you will see 5 or 6 different articles. So just select 1 or 2 articles. Okay, now after reading that article, try to write a summary of that article. Okay, write it. Okay, whatever language you are using, obviously it should be English language, but whatever quality of the language that you are using, it doesn't matter. It's just a start for you. So read the editorial, read one of the articles. Okay, read it once, read it twice, read it 3 times. And after you are done reading that particular article, take 5 minutes and write the summary of that article. All right. Now, after you're done with summary, select some of the difficult words. Okay. So difficult words from that article, write them in a separate notebook. Look at their meaning from Google or from the dictionary if you have. Okay. And write one sentence in which this particular word is used. All right. So editorial article is done. Immediately when you have read the article, write the summary. Okay, select some difficult words, write their word meanings, select their word meanings, and form a small sentence using that particular word. Okay, now doing this or following this particular steps for a month, you will see that your vocabulary will start improving. You will have an above average grammar after a month. Okay, now everything here, whatever we are doing is like we are building up a particular skill. This is not a knowledge, this is a skill. So definitely it takes times. So don't start comparing yourself immediately after 15 days or a month or maybe 2 months. These are skills and they take time to improve. So definitely after 3 to 4 months you will start seeing a change in yourself. Okay, so follow all these things and you will be doing good. Now next thing is communication skills. So definitely communication skills will not be improved until and unless you are habitual, you practice all these things. So start participating in different events, start participating in different competitions in your college. Okay, so that will increase, that will improve your verbal as well as non-verbal communication skills. All right, so try to take care of all these things and try to spend at least 3 to 4 hours on daily basis on building up all these skills. Now if I'll go back to our strengths, so definitely when you are improving, when you are working on your weaknesses, please don't forget your strengths. Okay, your strengths are quantitative aptitude. So make sure that you are spending at least 30 to 40% of your time on daily basis on these things as well. All right. So starting from today, what you can do is pick up one topic every day from quantitative aptitude. Okay. Uh, like start with the basics of that topic and do some examples from that. All right. Do some examples, basics and examples done. The second day, you can practice some extra questions. So थोड़े से questions practice करो. Okay. And in 2 or 3 days, you can park this topic. Now we have around 25 topics in quant, and on every topic, if you spend 3 to 4 days, then you can finish all these topics in a matter of 100 days, maximum 100 days. Okay. Now 100 days, that means approximately 3 months. So March, April, and May. So till the end of May, you should be done with each and everything that is related to the basics of quantitative aptitude. After that, you can enter into the practice mode. So you can start with some sectional tests, some practice test, or some full length mock papers as well. All right. So this is what you have to do to basically improve on quantitative aptitude. Next is data interpretation and logical reasoning. So you can devote 1 to 2 hours on alternate days on these two skills. So today, let's say you practice questions on data interpretations, questions on improving your calculations for 2 hours. Then you can give it a gap of one day, and let's say day after tomorrow you can practice some of the questions from logical reasoning. So in logical reasoning also you can target some of the areas like Venn diagrams, roots and networks, games and tournaments. So these are some important areas when it comes to logical reasoning. But don't start directly solving these questions. Don't jump to these topics on day one. So first of all, start with some of the basic areas of logical reasonings like grouping and arrangements, blood relations, directions, coding, decoding. So just first of all, finish up all these basic areas in a matter of 1 month. And after that, you can start increasing the level of difficulty. Make sure that these are your strengths at present. They should remain your strengths. Okay. Now, if I talk about my CAT score when I took CAT for the first time in my life, that was in 2006. Okay. So at that time, definitely my verbal skills were not up to the mark, but quant and LRDI, these two areas were my strength. So despite of scoring somewhere around 80, 82 percentile in verbal section, I managed an overall percentile of 99 in my first CAT. Thanks to my wonderful score in quant and LRDI, in both these subjects, in both these sections, I scored more than 99.5. Okay, so thanks to basically my strengths, because of which my overall CAT score touched 99 percentile. So this is the same thing that should be done by each and every engineer. Make sure that these strengths remains your strengths till the CAT is over, and you can work on your weaknesses like I've explained you, so that you will be able to at least clear the sectional cutoffs, as well as you will be able to do above average in the second round of selection procedure. All right. So friends, that is all from my side for my engineer friends. I wish all the best to all of you. And in case you have any specific query, any specific question related to related to your preparation for CAT 2022, related to your journey towards CAT 2022, I'm available. I am delighted to help you in answering any of these queries. So you can just post these queries in the chat box. Please do hit the like button if you like the session, and you can also comment in the comment section as to if you want me to take if you want me to cover any of the specific areas in future on YouTube. Do share this session with your engineer friends as well as non-engineer friends. Subscribe our channel for regular updates about different sessions that we are going to take. Okay. So that's all from my side. Sai Pradeep, you're asking, other than XLRI or TIS, what are the best colleges one can get through CAT? Okay. Okay, so first of all, Sai Pradeep, I'll just clear one thing, that XLRI and TEST, they don't offer admissions through CAT. Okay, so if I'll talk about CAT examination and some of the good colleges which are covered under CAT, so other than 20 IIMs, the other colleges are Faculty of Management Studies, which is affiliated to Delhi University, so FMS Delhi University. This is one wonderful college that offers admissions through CAT. Then for engineers, definitely IITs. So there are 6, 7 IITs that offers admission through CAT. There is a wonderful college in Mumbai, that is NITIE NITI in Mumbai. SP Jain Mumbai also offers admissions through CAT. Then MDI Gurgaon, IMT Ghaziabad, IMI Delhi, Lal Bahadur Shastri. These are some other names which offers admissions through CAT. All right. So XLRI or TIS, they don't offer admissions through CAT. Now, if you are targeting XLRI, then you'll have to take examination which is XAT, XAT, and for TISNET, there is a separate examination. So, sorry, for TIS college, there is a separate examination which is called TISNET, TISSNET. All right. I hope I have answered to your query. In case you have any other query, you can post it in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer those queries. So friends, that's all from my side. In case there are some students who have already taken these examinations this year and they're looking for a wonderful idle program for GDPR preparation. So this is one program that we have started at BYJU'S Exam Prep. The details are mentioned on the screen for this GDPI preparation program. And to fetch further details, you can call at the number that is given at the bottom of the screen. So there is a number, there is a helpline number for all your queries. You can call at this number related to the different courses that we are offering. Also, if you are looking, definitely you must be looking to prepare for CAT 2022. So we have on the offering a complete course, batch number 5, for your preparation for CAT 2022. Okay, so the highlights are given on the screen, so you can have a look at it, and for more information you can call on this number that is there at the bottom of your screen. All right, so friends, that's it from my side. You can follow us on Instagram, you can subscribe and press the bell icon on YouTube, like us on Facebook, join our Telegram channel, and download the app on Google Play. Thank you very much. All the best for your future.